Okay, so here we're going to show you how to get access to and download Abaqus Student Edition. So in your browser, you're going to search for Abaqus Student Edition, and then you should get some hyperlink like this. The key part is that there should be a 3ds.com in the link. 3ds is the domain for Dassault Systems, who's the developer and sellers of Abaqus. You should get some link like this, like free download. And so you probably don't have a 3D Experience ID yet. If you do, go ahead and enter that in here. Otherwise, click on a link to create your 3D Experience. And then what you're going to do is fill this out. In your email, put in your byu.edu, or if you have a different .edu account, fill that out in here. Okay, so now that you've signed up for an account, the next page you should see is a condition of usage with their terms and conditions. And as always, I do recommend that you read through these, but I'm going to specifically point out a few kind of key items to turn your attention to. Under section 11, this is a student edition, and so they have terms for academic use and what you're allowed to use the student edition for, as well as their definition of fundamental research. So I recommend you read through these specifically. Also note that there may be watermarking that might, if we take images or videos exported from Abaqus, that you're not to remove that watermarking. And then the second section I want to point out is the export control section. And so just make sure that you read this and understand the definition of this, and that you're able to abide by those rules. And then specifically under proliferation sort of things. It shouldn't be an issue, but I think this is a very important thing for you to hit, especially as you go off into industry. You'll probably be held to, well, you definitely will be held to export regulations in the United States. So this is a good kind of first introduction to those things. So once you've read through the terms of use, go ahead and, if you agree with those, go ahead and let's do that. And then click on download now. So the next thing we're going to do is, you've now got your account. Up in the right hand corner we can see my account. We're going to go ahead to your download center, and then from here, so you should be able to see stuff such as billing, so you can verify that today you've bought something that was $0. And so under the download center, we're going to go ahead and open up the download instructions, and there are several versions of Abaqus that you can install. Personally, I kind of like 2017. It's what I use at work, although I probably should be moving on towards 2019. So let's go ahead and download 2019. And so then that'll download in the site, and this may take some time. Okay, so one of the things that's perhaps a little bit tricky is that we need to complete our academic profile. And so at the bottom of your Chrome, you may see something about confirming your academic status. So click on Confirm Your Profile, and then choose which of these options is correct. And so fill this out. I suppose maybe we need to, perhaps we need to select this. I'm going to go ahead and choose it just because to verify. So there should be an email that should be sent to your BYU email. And so again, there's a whole bunch of these emails that we've been receiving. And so maybe browse through these to see which of these is the ones that that matters. So let's try activate profile. All right, it looks like that's done it. And so now we should be able to go ahead and do our download from there. Once you've done that, we're going to go ahead and navigate to that folder, and we're going to extract the zip file. Okay, once that file is completed unzipping, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to navigate in all the way to setup.exe. There's also an installation guide if you need support. So we're going to run this. We're going to read through the terms and conditions again, and then accept those conditions. So then it's going to ask you for a parent installation directory. So it defaults to C to your C drive. Personally, I kind of like to put those in my program files. So I've made a directory for Similia in my C program files. The reason why they go to the base C is to try to keep path lengths short. And so if you have like an older system of Windows, you may have some path length limitations. And so that's one of the reasons why it's helpful to put it in the straight C, because you get rid of extra text. But I'm not worried about that. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that installation directory. And it also wants to put your temporary files. Like when you're running simulations, it's going to write your outputs and your input files to C temp. And again, I kind of like to put that into a special directory in my documents. So into my temp within here. So you can see my username, documents, abacus, and temp. And again, you can see you've added a lot of text there. So again, older versions of Windows, you may need to keep the C:temp. So we're going to choose that as well. And once we're okay with our selections, we're going to go ahead and install. Maybe a few dialog boxes that you're going to need to click as you go through. But be patient and accept those. And we'll come back when we're finished. Now that we've installed Abaqus, we're going to go ahead and launch it. And so in our start menu, we can search for Abaqus, and it's going to be Abaqus CAE is what we're going to choose, just to show where this is redirecting to. There's a whole bunch of batch files that are actually get launched, and so hopefully you're able to find the actual direct documentation or an icon for launching. Otherwise, go ahead and search for launcher.bat file in your Similia directory where you installed Abaqus to. So if we launch this, we'll see that Abaqus will pop up with a dialog where we can go ahead and create new models and do some other stuff. If you've recently done or made an Abaqus file, it'll save as a .cae, and you can launch from here. Quick note too, if you close this command prompt window, it'll close your Abaqus. So I recommend not doing that. Instead, go ahead and just minimize that command prompt window. Then I want to show a few other things too that can just be kind of useful as we're setting up. I'm just going to create a dummy part here and just make it so that we can look around with it. So navigating is kind of a question for how to do be able to change your screen. And so where you're going to do that is in your Tools Options menu, and there's a tile for View Manipulation, and default is on Abaqus CAE, and so this one can be kind of useful, but it's got, you have to hold down Control and Alt. So anyways, if you have any familiarity with any of these other kind of CAD or CAE softwares, you can choose those. I personally prefer to use Unigraphics NX, which lets me use my scroll wheel to rotate. And it's all of this is just mouse key combinations, mouse button combinations to do everything. So anyways, that is the kind of the quick rundown of getting Abaqus up and going.